In the heart of an ancient, sprawling forest, where sunlight dappled through a thick canopy of emerald leaves, lived a fox unlike any other. His name was Ember, and his coat was the color of a dying fire, a flash of russet and gold against the greens and browns of his world. Ember wasn't the biggest or the strongest fox in the woods, but he possessed something far more valuable: a mind as sharp as a sliver of flint, and a spirit as free as the wind that whispered through the pines. He knew every twist and turn of the forest, every secret hollow, every babbling brook, and every hidden game trail. The forest was his home, his kingdom, and he was its clever, silent prince. One crisp autumn morning, the familiar peace of the woods was shattered. A new sound, harsh and unwelcome, echoed through the trees, the distant baying of hounds and the sharp, commanding blast of a hunting horn. A cold dread, something ancient and instinctual, washed over the forest's inhabitants. The hunters had arrived. They were known figures, grim-faced men with powerful rifles and a pack of relentless dogs, whose reputation for leaving no trail unfollowed preceded them. Fear rippled through the woodland creatures. Squirrels scrambled higher, deer melted into the thickets, and birds fell silent. But Ember, after an initial jolt of alarm, felt something else stir within him, a spark of defiance. This was his home, and he would not let it be conquered by fear. He watched from a high, rocky outcrop as the hunters made their camp near the forest's edge. He observed their routines, the way they cared for their dogs, the loud, boisterous way they talked around their crackling fire. They saw the forest as a prize to be taken, a place to prove their dominance. They didn't see its soul, its delicate balance. Ember knew he couldn't fight them with strength, so he would have to use his greatest weapon, his wit. The game had begun. The next day, the hunt started in earnest. The hounds were released, their noses to the ground, their bays echoing like a death knell. Ember let them pick up his scent easily, leading them on a deliberately winding chase. He was testing them, learning their patterns, their speed, and their stamina. He led them through dense thorn bushes that snagged at their ears and tangled their legs. He doubled back on his own trail, leaping from rock to rock where his scent wouldn't hold, leaving the dogs whining in confusion. He ran along the tops of fallen logs, a balancing act that the heavier hounds couldn't follow. He was a whisper in the woods, a fleeting glimpse of red, always just out of reach. The hunters, growing frustrated, followed the cacophony of their dogs. They cursed as they untangled themselves from thorny vines and slipped on mossy stones. They were used to a quick, decisive chase, but this fox was playing with them, making a mockery of their skills. Ember was not just running. He was thinking, planning his next move 3 steps ahead. He led them toward a wide, shallow river. Without hesitation, he plunged into the icy water, swimming downstream for a good distance before scrambling out on the opposite bank, his scent completely washed away. The hounds arrived at the water's edge, barking in utter frustration, their trail gone cold. The first day belonged to Ember. That night, as the hunters grumbled by their fire, Ember didn't rest. He knew they would be more determined the next day. He set about preparing the forest for his next performance. He visited the muddiest part of the marsh, rolling in the thick, pungent mud to mask his own foxy scent. Then he crept near the hunters' camp. He found a discarded piece of cloth that carried the strong, smoky scent of the men and their fire. He carefully carried it in his mouth and began his work. He dragged the cloth on a new false trail. This trail didn't lead to safety, but to chaos. He weaved it through a massive thicket of blackberry brambles, a natural maze of thorns. He then led the scent trail directly towards a known hornet's nest, nestled in a low-hanging branch. His trap was set. As dawn broke, the hunters set out with a vengeance. The dogs, fresh and eager, immediately picked up the strong, smoky scent from the cloth. They charged forward, convinced they were hot on the fox's trail. The hunters followed, their spirits high. They plunged headfirst into the blackberry thicket, the thorns tearing at their clothes and scratching their skin. Annoyed but undeterred, they pushed through, only to be met by a furious, buzzing cloud. Ember, watching from a safe distance, saw the men swatting and yelling as they stumbled right into the hornet's nest. They retreated in a panic, their faces dotted with angry red welts, their dogs yelping as they too felt the wrath of the hornets. The forest seemed to chuckle as the hunters limped back to their camp, defeated and humiliated for a second time. The lead hunter, a man named Silas, was not one to give up easily. He was known for his stubbornness. He realized this was no ordinary fox. This required a different strategy. The next morning, instead of releasing the whole pack, he chose his two best hounds, a pair of cunning EXPERIENCED trackers named Bolt and Arrow. And this time, he wouldn't just follow. He would try to anticipate the fox's moves. Ember noticed the change in tactics immediately. These two hounds were quieter, more focused. They didn't fall for his simple tricks. They worked together, one following the main trail while the other circled, cutting off potential escape routes. The pressure mounted. Ember was forced to run harder, think faster. The chase led them deep into the oldest part of the forest, a place of towering ancient trees and treacherous rocky terrain. He knew he needed a grand finale, a trick so audacious it would end this hunt for good. He remembered a place the old ones in the forest spoke of with reverence and fear, the Whispering Gorge. It was a deep, narrow canyon with a rickety, old rope bridge spanning its chasm, left behind by loggers decades ago. The bridge was rotted and unstable, swaying dangerously with the slightest breeze. It was a place most creatures avoided. It was perfect. Ember raced towards the gorge, the two hounds relentless on his heels. He could hear Silas not far behind them. He reached the edge and didn't hesitate. He was light, nimble. He carefully placed his paws on the swaying planks, his body low to the ground, and began to cross. The bridge groaned and shuddered under his slight weight. Bolt and Arrow arrived at the chasm's edge, barking furiously. They were too heavy, too cautious to attempt the crossing. Silas finally caught up, rifle in hand, his face a mask of grim determination. He saw Ember halfway across the bridge. He raised his rifle, taking aim. The forest held its breath, but Ember had one last piece of his plan. Just as he reached the other side, he turned back. He looked directly at Silas, and then, with a swift, powerful bite, he tore at one of the main support ropes holding his end of the bridge. The rope snapped with a loud crack. The bridge, now held by only a single fraying tether on the far side, swung violently downwards, dangling uselessly into the gorge. His escape route was gone, but so was their path to follow him. Silas lowered his rifle, staring in disbelief. The fox had not just escaped. He had outsmarted him completely, burning his own bridge, literally, to secure his freedom. He looked at his dogs, then across the chasm at the flash of red fur, disappearing into the trees. A slow smile spread across his face, a smile of respect. He had been beaten, not by a simple animal, but by a brilliant strategist. He called off his dogs. The hunters packed their camp and left the next morning. They did not return. The story of the fox who outsmarted the hunters became a legend in the forest. Ember, the clever russet fox, had become more than just a survivor. He was a symbol of intelligence over brute force, a guardian who had defended his home not with claws or teeth, but with courage and a brilliant mind. And as the years passed, the ancient woods lived in peace, its secrets kept safe by its clever, silent prince. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story of wit and courage, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more tales from the wild, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you next time.